Hey there everybody from Internet, this is TofuAce here to help you both face. Now if you've been following my videos since the start of my tutorial series, first off, thank you for watching. I have seen so many inspiring comments from people who apparently get something out of my silly little YouTube hobby, and well, long story short, the power of the Internet still surprises me even after being online for nearly 20 years.
Wow, this is a powerful computer.
Yes, that's right. I remember the time when you could see silly news reports on TV mentioning this new information superhighway.
Imagine a world where every word ever written, every picture ever painted, and every film ever shot could be viewed instantly in your home via an information superhighway.
Go home, television, you're drunk. Alright, so this video will be a lesson in defensive aerial combat. As I said in my last video, I am finally getting into the parts which have inspired me to start the series in the first place. Well, this subject matter might possibly be the reason for it all. I can't count how many times I've read people gripe on how if they allow anybody to get on their tail, they might as well bail out because you can't survive that in this game. Obviously, I disagree. Surprise! No wonder I made a defensive video. So let's get into it. Now, why did I wait so long and the topic is so important to myself and many others? Well, we can't defend against something unless we understand it first, right? Knowledge is power, and as with everything in our aerial combat toolbox, you can use the knowledge behind it in an offensive or defensive manner. As the main character in my videos, I may not have always been on the offensive, yet I was speaking about an offensive maneuver. Also, in previous videos there have been footage in where I didn't exactly lay out or explain what was going on. I had only hinted at them as foreshadowing for a future video. Nah, everybody already knew that, right? You all deserve a cookie. Although don't come to me looking for one. I only eat barbecue, because that is delicious. And barbecue's for closers only. Alright, back to defense. Guns defense maneuvering, or simply Guns D, is pretty much something we all do instinctively when we have run out of options and can't outmaneuver our attacker. We randomly make directional changes, hoping to throw off the enemy and miss as many of their shots as possible. As we make changes in speed and jink around their bullet stream, we try to disorient their aiming ability, although we might fall victim to a few stray or lucky shots. This is why we only resort to this as a last-ditch effort when nothing else works. A high G barrel roll is a combination of a snap roll and a loop. This is another last-ditch effort, albeit a much improved one over the Guns D. So, a high G barrel roll can be thought of as a more aggressive barrel roll. We need to keep our enemies at close range to succeed with this, so using other measures to draw them in at very close range is usually needed. I've been known to use this in conjunction with other measures as I trick my opponent closer and closer off my tail, in order to later pull a yo-yo of some sort as I reverse the tables and become the predator once again. Speaking of which, let's see some other reversals we can use. Alright, next up is the defensive spiral. This is most useful when we have found ourselves out of energy and ideas, as our aircraft are forced to lose altitude in order to regain energy and even maneuverability. If we are near stall speeds to begin with, we trade potential energy for kinetic energy, again using gravity as our friend, as we drop down into a spiraling dive, engaged in what will later be known as a scissors. Both aircraft are diving straight down towards the deck, right? The last one to follow the other in a dive will be the first with a high side guns pass needed to take out the enemy. Speaking of running with scissors...
That's illegal.
No, newbie. I haven't broken the law.
So, the scissors are a series of turn reversals, aka flight path overshoots, which we possibly bleed energy and use displacement to our advantage to hopefully get on our enemy's tail. Ah, there's that word again, displacement. We want to roll over as quickly as possible and pull up into our enemy, as they do the same to us, hoping to prevent you from getting the upper hand. Again, cutting into their turn for a lag pursuit, which we can later transform into lead, in order to get a gun solution and shoot them down. A flat scissors is when we engage the enemy on, you guessed it, a relatively flat plane.
Okay, Tofu, we get that you like to remind us about pursuit whatevers and displacement whatnots, but that flat thinking looks boring.
You are right, smoking internet critic. I too like using the vertical in any way possible. I don't like flat anything. Flat tires, flat bottoms. How can we inject some plump, juicy barbecue into this?
But one person in particular I know is connected is the American President, Bill Clinton. And I know that because I used this computer to write to him today, and I've already got a reply.
Ah, of course, the rolling scissors. We can utilize the vertical and horizontal, in which both aircraft roll around each other, trying to force the other into an overshoot. This can take place, again, in a mostly horizontal plane, or, in the previous example of the defensive spiral, mostly the vertical. Whew, that is a whole lot to take in for one video. I wanted to break up the subject matter as little as possible, and hopefully didn't bite off too much to chew. Luckily in Texas that is impossible. Anyways, if I could have singled out what inspired me to start a new YouTube obsession, it would have been this very one, defensive maneuvers. Also, we can now venture into a broader subject where we start to explore ways to trick or influence our enemy, to react and fly in a manner which we can capitalize on. If you can predict where the enemy will be, you can turn the predator into the prey. Alright people, I am TofuAce and thank you for taking the time to hear me ramble on. Don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see more like this. Oh, and if you want to join a fun online community that plays all sorts of online games, including War Thunder, check out Midnight Squadron. I'll have the links below to our website and forums in the description box. Alright, laters.
Who says online users are a bunch of antisocial geeks? Look, here we are in this nice cafe, drink in hand, friendly people, and we're surfing the net.
Well, that was a blast.
Where do you want to go next?
You know, I don't know how to ask you this because I don't want to embarrass you or anything, but, you know, is there anything on the web about, you know,
Oh, well, there's hundreds of sites. Which did you have in mind? Oh, I know where we can go.
You know, I feel like going somewhere cool.